Hari Om, Jai Guru. Madhya Hridayakashe Chidanandamayo Guru Udetu Satatam Samyak Ajnanatimira Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutah Stunmandi Divyaistavai Vede Sangavadakramopanishadai Gayanti Yam Samaga Dhyanavastitagadena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yogino Yasyantam navidushurashurajana Devaya tasmai namah Om Shri Paramatmane namah Atashodashodhyaya. We have been discussing Asuri Sampat from the fourth sloka of this chapter. Now the entire Asuri Sampat, Krishna is condensing into basic three problems. So if one learns to tackle these three fundamental problems, then he is safe. So what are they? Let us see in the next sloka, that is 16:21. So I'll first read the sloka. Trividham naragasyedam dvaram nasanamatmanah कामक्रोधस्तथा लोभः माते तत्रयं त्यजेत् त्रिविधं नरकस्येदं द्वारं नाशनमात्मनः कामक्रोधस्तथा लोभः तस्मात् तत्रयं त्यजेत्. It says desire, anger, and greed. These three gateways to hell, these three are the gateways to hell. So, and this three gateway to hell is the cause of one's own destruction. Therefore, one should give up these three. Trividham naragasyedam dvaram. There are three roads, or you can say highways, to Naraka. Dvaram means sort of gateway, because we know that no opening, gateway or road. Krishna defines Narakam as Atmana Nashana, which destroy a person spiritually and which blocks the gateway to moksha. Atmanam Nashana, self-destruction, that is spiritual destruction. And what are the three basic things? Kamaha, Krodaha, and Lobaha. Because Kamaha means desire, Krodaha means anger, and Lobaha has two meanings. One meaning is greed. Another meaning is miserliness. Tasmat, therefore, etat-trayam tyajet. Learn to give up three things. Kama tyaga means refinement or qualitative change of kama. By qualitative change of kama is mentioned here. So convert tamasic kama into rajasic kama. Convert rajasic kama into sattvic kama. So this is the qualitative change which is talked about here. All these three kamas or three things are bondages, because if it is not fulfilled, you will be upset. Even sattvic kama is, we saw in 14th chapter, it is also a binding one. It is also you can say bondage. Through self-knowledge, the sattvic kama is converted into non-binding desire. Sattvic kama will continue, but it will do, it will be good as no desire, as good as no desire. It is non-binding, dharmic desire. So this much we can do. So it is not, it is rather difficult to completely eliminate desire. So once we handle kama, the other two are handled easily. Because krodha and lobha are only another version of kama. We have seen kama yesha krodha yesha rajo guna samudbhavaha. That is 37th verse in chapter 3. That means if kama is obstructed, that is when kama is obstructed, then it is krodha. Then the obstructed desire transforms, that means into anger. And therefore, if you learn to handle kama, krodha also will be changed from tamasic anger to rajasic anger, and from there to sattvic. Same thing with lobha. So Krishna says, Arjuna, refine these three. Then let's go to verse 22. Etayir vimukta kaunteya tamodvari tirbirnaraha acharyat yatmanasheya tato yati parangatim. Arjuna, freed from these three gates to hell. A man pursues what is good for himself and thus attain the supreme goal once he is freed from these gates. So this conversion of kama, krodha and lobha is conversion from asuri sampat to devi sampat. And person of asuri sampat also has desire. Yetayir vimukta. having been freed from the tyranny of Kama, Krodha and Lobha, Krishna calls it Tamodvaya, Tribhir, which are the three gateways, which are the roads to Naraga. Then you turn away from them very carefully. Atmanashreya, acharati. That is what is good for himself. That is called Atmanashreya. Shreya here means moksha marga. Previously he was in Preyo marga. Now the track has been changed. Now he is in the Shreyo marga. And Tataha, once he got into this spiritual, he has got into some spiritual guru, Chitta Suddhi is faster and his desire for learning the scriptures more and more. His desire is for getting a guru to guide. Therefore, Tataha means what? Before long, that is soon, he will get Chitta Suddhi, he will get a Guru Prapti, and therefore Shravana Prapti. Tato Param Gatim Yanti. So he will very smoothly land in moksha, even before he knows. That means he discovers Aham Brahmasmi. We will see next verse also, 23. Yasastra vidhi mudrujya vartate kamakaratah nasachidhimavapnoti na sukham na param gatim. Having given up spiritual injunctions, he who lives according to the impulse of desire attains neither purity nor happiness. He does not attain the supreme goal also. So now, from the 22nd verse onwards, Krishna is talking about the further stages. That is, mere change from Asuri Sampat to Daivi Sampat is not enough. A good character does not guarantee liberation. That is, a moral or ethical life by itself will not lead to liberation, because an ethical life does not remove ignorance. Because we have seen many people, very nice people moving and all, but this ignorance of the reality or the ultimate truth is not there. So he has to pursue spiritual sadhana. And he said, Tato param gatim yanti. He will attain param gatim moksha. That is moksha. How? Yes, astra vidhi mudrujya. One who does not make use of this traditional teaching, he doesn't make use of this beautiful opportunity, Utsritya, give up what does he do? Vartate kamakarata, lives a life according to his own ragadvesha. Instead of dharma, he takes to adharma-based lifestyle. He takes to ragadvesha-based lifestyle. We saw these things earlier when we are going through this Asuri Sampad. Saha siddhim navapnoti. He has no chance of getting chitta siddhi. He has no chance of getting jnana yogyata. And jnana yogyata itself is not, if that itself is not possible, na param gatim. Where is the question of jnana prapti? He will not get spiritual joy. Really speaking, these, we call them materialistic people. What happens in due course, even lose the capacity to enjoy even worldly pleasures. Worldly pleasures, they are not such that they will be appealing and attractive. Permanently. It's only for a short period of time. So therefore, this person will be incapable of enjoying even Vishaya Sukham after some time. So, Nasukham, because he will take to overindulgence and he will lose the health and mind and everything. So that is the thing if he doesn't change. The last one. Tasmat shastram pramanam te karya vyavastito jnatva sastra vidhanoktam karma kartumiharhasi. So therefore, the scriptures are the source of knowledge for everyone in determining the do's and don'ts. Having known the teaching of the scriptural injunctions, you should do your duty here. This is the translation in English. So scriptures are the source of knowledge for us in determining the do's and don'ts. Having known the teaching of the scriptural injunction, one should do their duty. That means they must implement. So here it starts with the word tasmat. Tasmat here, that means, what does it mean? Because of the idea given in the previous verse, and what was the previous verse? It states, if you give up the sastric guidance, you will lose this good opportunity. Therefore, make use of the Vedic teaching. So, tasmat shastram. Shastram originally is Veda shastram. Shastram alone is pramana, means the guidance for you. Karya vyavastita, with regard to the norms of what to do and what not to do. Vyavastiti means the norms or standards. Because karyam means do's, akaryam means don'ts. That is, you can call it vidhi and nisheda. So we are talking about vidhi and nisheda or dharma, dharma. Jnatva, and with regard to dharma shastram, mere knowledge is not enough. One should have to implement what we have learned. Jnatva Shastra Vidhanoktam. First, learn what is right and wrong. And then we have to implement that. Kartum miharasi. You should do what we know. That is, you should know what you know. Thus, Krishna tells us how to change ourselves from Asuri Sampat to Daivi Sampat and then pursue Vedanta and attain Jnana or Moksha. So this is the last verse of this chapter. So we'll quickly see the summary of this chapter. Krishna feels that self-knowledge can be useful only for spiritually qualified persons. If you take the Vedas themselves, self-knowledge is not given in the beginning. Self-knowledge occurs only in Vedanta, at least at the end, Vedanta. It's a very comparatively small portion. The beginning portion of Veda Purva, call it, deals with only preparation. It is refinement. And we can't take it that is the preparation for granted. We should give extreme importance to the refinement of the person. Without refinement, knowledge will not be received. Even if the knowledge is received, it will not be retained. Even if the knowledge is retained, it will not bring about any transformation. It is like before sowing the seeds, the farmer has to prepare the ground, and only after that the seed can be sown. Without preparing the ground properly, even the best seed cannot sprout and produce the result. The two chapters 16 and 17, they do not deal with self-knowledge at all. Krishna has elaborately talked about the samskara or preparation by enumerating those things which are to be very deliberately avoided and those practices which are to be deliberately attained. That is Vidhi and Nisheda. Same thing, Daivi and Asuri Sampat. What type of refinement or improvement one can bring about? That means in himself. As himself means what? When we say, I have to refine myself, here there are the improvement is as a Manushya, as a Karta, as a Bhokta, as a Mumukshu. The first three are common to all. That is Manushya, as a Manushya, as a Karta, and as a Bhokta. So, we need refinement of as a Manushya, as a Karta and Bhokta. The fourth one is extremely important for the Mumukshu, that is refinement. That is all spiritual seekers, you can say like us. The Let us take the first one, Manushya, as a man. What are the refinements which I should and I can have? The first one is my health. It is not only physical health, but also emotional and intellectual health. Physical health is known to all of us. That is how to practice, let us say, yoga, how one should be walking daily, what should be the diet, and what all one should avoid. So generally, all of us know this. When we come to emotional health, means what? It is nothing but enjoying a mind which is calm, which is peaceful and poised. Then only you can enjoy. Otherwise, a mind without this shanti and samatvam, it's a burden. In fact, the entire list of Daivi Sampat and Asuri Sampat is given only to enjoy emotional health. All the thoughts which are in alignment with Daivi Sampat will contribute to mental health. It's very clear. And all the thoughts which are in not in alignment, they will only cause mental ill health. Therefore, emotional health is nothing but peacefully, that is, enjoying shanti, freedom. Freedom means what? Freedom from stress. Next layer of health from the first we talked about health, which is intellectual health, which is next layer. Intellectual health is nothing but enjoying an intellect which is capable of learning, which is capable of thinking with clarity, clear thinking, and which is capable of communicating clearly. So next aspect of a person, which we have been seeing, is karta, a karta, as a doer of action. Whether it is routine, mundane, worldly actions, or whether they are religious action, sacred or secular. As a karta, what do you mean by refinement? The scriptures point out that the first step in refinement is reduction of the number of impulsive actions and replacing them with deliberate, thoughtful actions. So this is the main thing. Otherwise, when we interact with the world, sometimes we get to know that impulsive action, immediately we take some decision and act. So it has to replace with thoughtful actions. So these practices will help us to avoid impulsive action and replace it with careful or thoughtful actions. Then when we come to bhokta, as a bhokta, I have to go through choiceless experiences, unexpected experiences. For example, see, even growing old is choiceless. Children behavior, again, is choiceless. So the main refinement of bhokta is strengthening the mind to go through these choiceless situations with minimum damage. For that, scriptural study is the one factor which strengthens the bhokta. Next refinement of bhokta is being skillful. Why is bhokta? That means skillful bhokta. Because the disturbance of the bhokta, if at all it is there, it is carried to the karta also. And the karta's performance is very much affected. So, a skillful bhokta converts these painful experiences into educative experiences. Then the last one, mumukshu, as a mumukshu, that is spiritual seeker. What type of refinement he needs? As a spiritual seeker, he would require faith and association with three factors. Number one, God, of course we know very well. Number two, Guru. And three, Shastra. Faith in God is a must for any spiritual seeker. Because without Ishvara Kripa, spiritual journey is very difficult, impossible. Prayer what? Prayer is a form of association with God. And it will do immense good for all, especially for a spiritual seeker. That's why most of these satsangs and all, we start with a prayer. The next one is this Guru. That means faith and association with the Guru. That means faith with Guru is what? The Guru will do only good to me. And this faith and association with Guru is essential for learning from him. That is Shraddha. The Shraddha definition itself, that is what Guru says and that is the scripture says, we should, without any doubt, we must accept. So, one has to give importance to this refinement, which is called samskara. So this is the essence of the 16th chapter. Actually, verse, I think 1, right from the beginning. Rise, that is 1 to 3, first 3, Krishna talks about Daivi Sampati, which will positively contribute to refinement. We have seen that. Refinement of all the four, Manushya, Karta, Bhokta and Mumukshu. Then from 4th to 21st sloka, Krishna talks about all those traits, activities, behavior and conduct, which will adversely affect a human being. Not only samskara or refinement, it will not take place at all. The person will go down spiritually. And this 4 to 21, which is Asuri Sampati. So that is the thing which that is the refinement we expect, that title will not take place. So that's why he will go down spiritually. And from the 22nd verse to 24, which we saw, Krishna talks about importance of Shastram and scriptural study. See, here we have to, one point we have to be, see, it is, we all know actually whatever is talked about, especially about Asuri Sampati. But it is very essential to understand and eliminate those things which will come in the way of spiritual seeking. Not only that, see, if we imagine, see, let us see again, the God and Jiva, if you take, in Tattva Bodhandal we would have seen. So God is what? Brahma plus Maya. And the Jiva is the Brahma or Atma reflecting in Anatma. That means the ignorance. The difference between Jiva and God is not affected, even though it is combination of Maya. Maya itself is, is ignorance. So, whatever happens due to Maya, the God is not affected. It is always unaffected. Whereas Jiva is involved with every thought and then he is affected. So this avidya, in combination with the Atma, that we call as Jiva, and that combination is affected by whatever happens in the interaction with the world, whatever. So, the Brahma, which we call as consciousness, and the mind means what? It contains a lot of thoughts, right from the first thought, I am the body, that's that thought, and so many other thoughts, likes and dislikes. Actually, first mind, and it takes a shape which we call as body. That is the manifestation. So when the mind is refined, slowly understanding all these things, what happens? See, the Brahman or Atma, when the thought or the thoughts takes place, it is called, same thing is called mind. So when the mind, if the thoughts are removed, it becomes consciousness. So our attempt, especially in this 16th chapter, whatever is given, is to eliminate all the negative factors. Then next to these things, we get Daivi Sampata. Even that, one by one, that means the thought, what we call as thought, it should be eliminated to the maximum possible extent. So when the elimination takes place, that we call as, Chitta Suddhi, purification of the mind is nothing but this. Even though we say nothing, it is not, it's simple. The likes and dislikes, there are so many. So, by understanding about Atma, Brahman, and the self, and all these things, slowly they get eliminated. There is no really special attempt required. But before starting pursuing, we have to, right from that, sadhana to take also. First is Viveka and Vairagya. The Vivekam itself, when it is clearly understood, what is Atma and what is Anatma, that itself takes us to Vairagya. Vairagya comes automatically. So this constantly, without any deviation, that means when we are interacting with the world, this understanding, all the time one has to be watchful of the mind and see the reactions. In fact, this is the real practice of, the seekers. See, one has to, of course, sit and meditate and initially to understand. Afterwards, the interaction itself is a sort of meditation. Meditation means watching the mind and see that none of these things, create any reaction which is registered. So we are trying to eliminate all the, likes and dislikes which are registered. This is important, which gets, the chittam is something which all our, likes and dislikes are stored. So, the real karma yoga is what? Do things, but don't react. That is the real thing. That means whether it has produced the expected results or not, don't get perturbed. But that we all know. That is doing karma is not karma yoga. The results one should be able to handle. Well, that means handle means whether it is success or failure. In fact, that is the yoga. Yogascha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva. Without any attachment. Dhananjaya siddha siddhyo samo bhutva. Whether it is failure or success, it should be treated, equal. That samatvam. So that is yoga. Yoga means that doing all activities without getting caught. Then only the karma yoga and all these things in especially chapter 2, yoga karma kaushala. It is in a different way it is explained. Yoga karma kaushala means, kaushala came from the word kushala. That means the dharma. We call it dharmapul. When you pluck it, it can create sort of, it can cut our fingers. So one has to do carefully. So this kushala, that word came from that only. Yoga karma kaushala. So when we do actions, we have to see that we are unaffected by the results. In fact, that is another meaning of dedicating the result to Brahman means daily we chant Narayana Namaste Samarpayami. Means what? You don't take the result. Don't be, be joyful when it is successful. Otherwise, don't get depressed when it is a failure. Not being affected means what? It goes to, if it is affected, it goes to ego. If it is not, if you are not affected, it goes to what? It's the general this thing which we call consciousness, which is never affected. So this is the practice of doing this karma yoga. To do this, what is required is the knowledge about the do's and don'ts, which, as we saw in 16th chapter. Elaborately, we will see in 17th also, with reference to all these three. That is, whether it is how to go from sattva, and that is rajas and tamasi. All these things, with reference to that, every action is clearly defined. So that once you understand this, we know where we stand and how to skillfully change to the higher sattvic level. This is all about the karma yoga, and so this practice. See, once we look into ourselves, it will be really so many things. There are so many likes and dislikes. What to do? But once we start practicing, others will understanding. Automatically, long list, one by one, they will automatically go away. We would have, in fact, observed ourselves. See how we were about 20 or 25 years back. So many attractions. It depends on our taste. Now, one by one, automatically they will drop. So we are not so much, that much interest is not there. So in so many sort of entertainments or any of this which we want to acquire, everything drops. So even though one has to be aware that when we complete a job, whether it is success or failure, or whether the expected results have come or not, it shouldn't affect you. Here, affect means, really speaking, one if has understood that real I, it is never affected. It is never affected. That's why the example given is normally the sleep. Whatever happens in the sleep, we sleep well, and it doesn't. It is not affected by whatever we have done during the waking time. So this is the practice, and it especially being a spiritual seeker, one has to be rather all the time alert and see that none of these things they creep in. And if it happens, it will disturb. I don't know whether we have seen when we started, when we regularly doing meditation, either in the morning and the evening, if there were any reactions, especially negative reaction during the interaction during the say wakeful time, daytime, it will affect the meditation process. You won't be able to even sit or without any reactions or thoughts in the mind. So definitely, some of us would have definitely seen this. Even the otherwise also, if you are very happy with something, it will continue in the mind even when you are doing meditation. So this sort of thing, slowly it will reduce. Even this so-called registering in the mind, when we do any action, that itself, if you see, it is it's a normal, simple, day-to-day thing. It is not registered. Only when you really react, this fellow has told this, that will be remembered for a long time. Otherwise, so many things we like and dislike and all those things. It is not so serious. If you take some, let's say, coffee in a hotel, if it is so good, we'll simply say good and then leave it. Whereas some experiences, they get registered. In fact, they are the problems, especially when interacting with people. It always takes place. We remember good as well as bad things. So that is it builds up our that the so-called ego. That's why this also we had talked earlier, discussed. J. Krishnamurti says the practice we try to remove all the image about others. If we become is a boring person, we should avoid and all this thing. Or if this fellow comes, he's very nice, interacting and all. So we ask him to come and sit and all. If another person, if you are meeting for the first time, there is no reaction. So this, in fact, we must practice such that the image is totally removed. Everybody, we will think that we are meeting for the first time. That means we don't keep their image. Then slowly we have to remove the image about ourselves also. And so on, so on, all those things. It will get dropped. That is, it's not important. So this practice, when we start doing this, after some time, automatically these images about others, especially, it will come down, it will drop. So that then we can feel that that itself is a sort of a joy. We are peaceful when it's totally removed. But this is at least for a J. Krishnamurti says, at least for a week, try this. See, whenever you meet somebody, imagine that you are meeting for the first time. So that sort of thing. Then it will, in fact, automatically it will remove the image about ourselves also. That is a total, we feel totally free. Otherwise, even an image of a person, it disturbs me. There is no freedom inside. Even a phone call, sometimes we are, it is from such and such people. We tell him that I am not in the house. So that sort of reaction is there. So all these things should drop. So we can feel the peace all the time. There is no such thing as all the time we are peaceful, and in fact that itself is, we call Ananda. Ananda is nothing but, it's not because of removing your say any dukkha and other things. It is natural. So that the being in the spiritual term, Ananda means without any conditions. You are all the time. That means there is no sukham or dukkha. Nothing creates. That's why we saw, God means whatever be the reaction, whatever happens in the world or in various bodies, they don't affect me. That is in fact, in the 5 capsules also it is there. Create the world, and whatever happens, they don't affect me. If one remembers this, because the self is, even now it is unaffected. So while practicing, we feel that presence of self all the time. So it is, after practicing for a long time, it is practically, it is automatic. You are not affected. So this practice is what we call as spiritual. For this, the understanding of the Asuri Sampati especially, and of course Devi Sampati, they are very useful. We know where is our weak points and all. Try to remove. For that also, to remove means what? Initially, one has to spend about, let's say about 50-60 mind hours thinking about it. Why I am like this? Why it is affecting me? Then once you understand completely, then it will, the particular thing, whether it is fear or anger, it's slowly eliminated. We can feel that. So this sort of practice, for all seekers, it is very essential. For that, the 16th and of course to some extent 17th chapter also will be very useful. That listing, instead of simply telling remove all negative traits, means instead of that it is clearly listed. If we saw in the 13th chapter also, and practically actually we know which is good and which is bad, but to see, anything sort of a listing with it creates a sort of awareness all the time, which are really where we are weak. So let us remove. So to give that idea, these 2 chapters are very essential. Otherwise, it looks very simple listing of good and bad things. It's not that. So the travel from removing Asuri Sampat and to a great extent Daiva Sampat, that itself will give almost, you feel that you are free and peaceful all the time. So as we were telling, that image about others and image about self, it totally vanishes. So that is real peace all the time, as we are in sleep. All the time, that sort of that feeling it is there. We have to note that only. I am always like that, or the self is always like that. We are so much, in the what you call ego side, that is ahankaram side. That means that is very active. So the others, this thing we see only during meditation, and soon after meditation, easily we come back right in. Even though we sleep for 8 hours, when you get up, immediately something which we left before sleeping, all those things they crop in. And slowly these things will stop. That is the sort of people's experience. So once it is dropped, the peacefulness is always felt. See, we have seen earlier also how the jiva travels. See, these are all, examples where it gets into this sort of yoni, and this sort of, the gets next birth is like this and all. These are all, explanation how it travels and how. But really, all the time, the real I, the self, is peaceful. One has to understand this. To understand that this listing and all given, and we always say I'm not the body, I'm not the mind. Especially this mind is definitely, mind means what? Thoughts or feelings and all. Really, I'm not that. So I am always free. This itself, this understanding is, so these thoughts and other things, even when they come, they don't affect. In fact, this is real freedom. Always there will be some good and bad things, people, as long as the body is there. So, this remembrance all the time, that unaffectedness of the self, if it is remembered, we saw that no life, whatever happens, it is entertaining. Otherwise, even small things will, burden us. So, that's why this listing and the 16th chapter and 17th. So, it is, in fact, I don't know whether any further explanation is required in any of this, listing. It's so obvious. Most of us, we know that, we are aware of that. So let us, the practice is all the time important. Practice means, any interaction with the world or things or with people, that itself is, that will show where we stand. So that alertness is actually real meditation. Interactional meditation is also. So let us try to do and then get benefit of this particular chapter. Jai Guru. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.